on air. I'm Angelique, and today I have Luke Guinn from General Shale, and he is at the IBS International Builders Show in Orlando, Florida, and going to give us a tour of their booth and also talk about outdoor products. And I mean, any of your new products are fine. Welcome, Luke.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Thanks for accommodating my injury. I appreciate it.
That's no problem. We will lean on technology as much as we can, right?
And the internet is holding, so we are good.
Yes, yes. We were worried there for a moment.
We
So, well,
were.
yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the show, and we are at the International Builder Show now for the second time in a row. So, just a bit of history before I take the tour of the booth. Um,
Sure.
the Builder Show, obviously being the largest light construction show internationally, globally, and we are the largest brick manufacturer in North America. So it would make sense then that we would be at a show like this, right? And
Yes.
so, why the hiatus? Why have we been gone for 10 years up until last year? Well, the business has grown tremendously over that decade. And even though I've been in this role for the past 15, well, I've been in marketing for the past 15 years at General Shell. I've been in this role for the last 6 or 7, and we've slowly been understanding and identifying how do we go to a show like this? What is our go to show strategy to really
Mm,
tell, builders, designers, homeowners, and then everybody in that realm what General Shell is all about? Because there are so many things that we offer. And so, for your audience and for the outdoor side of things, that's just one element. That's one segment of our
mhm.
business, right? Whether you're talking about outdoor features like fire pits, fireplaces,
Fireplaces. Yeah.
pavers, and patios.
Mhm.
That's certainly part of our wheelhouse, part of our portfolio. And so we actually uniquely brought that to this show this year. Last year in Las Vegas, we didn't have that on display. And I'll show
Okay.
you that in a moment. And that's actually why my setup is where it currently is. So here's one of our lovely
Awesome.
outdoor
Fire
features.
pits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I love
we'll get
it.
a better look at that here in just a moment. But no, it's very good to be here. We definitely feel that a product as real and genuine as masonry, whether you're talking about clay
Yes.
pavers or brick in the wall, is the best cladding material that's out there. And so why wouldn't we be here? So that's my spiel as far as what we feel being here yet again. But yeah, I definitely want to give you guys a tour and show you around.
Well, we're excited because I think that, brick has such a great feel to it. And I
Yeah.
love some of your new introductions are very modern feeling, where a lot of brick that you see is very traditional, but
Yes.
you have all of that.
Yes.
And it gives such a nice texture to the outdoor living spaces and
Right.
a lot
Hmm.
of flexibility. I mean, curves, you can do, a lot of unique things with bricks that you can't do with
Yeah.
other materials. So
Sure.
I
Yeah.
definitely think you're right to make a splash about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna go ahead and get up and walk around. I'm glad that you said
Sure.
that because one of the things that was so important about the time. Well, let's just go back in time a bit. Whenever the Great Recession was here, and building slowed, we leaned heavily on our outdoor materials to um, supplement, obviously, what was going on at that time. But it really gave us a time to. It gave us an opportunity to help homeowners understand that adding to their outdoor space would actually give them something new to add to their home, but also add to the value of it. And it points back to
Mhm.
what you just said, because brick is a genuine material. Just like if you put it in the wall, if you put it on the ground in a patio application or some sort of an outdoor space, that's going to add just like another add-on to your house, right? So I'm gonna turn the camera here. Were you gonna say
Okay.
something?
Well, I was going to say something, and we could put
Yeah,
a pin in this and answer it later. But
yeah.
something interesting that I learned is about like the water absorption of bricks and
Hmm.
using it as a material on the ground, and how not all bricks are are made
That's correct.
to do that. And
Right.
I see a lot of people getting like reclaimed bricks that could have been for a building and using it
Hmm.
as a patio, and then it degrades very quickly. And so
Yes.
I guess I also wanted to talk a little bit about quality.
Sure.
But maybe, maybe that's a do the tour and
Sure.
finish with that. How's that
Yeah,
sound?
yeah, that sounds great because there is definitely some things I can add to that, and I think that will help
Okay,
your audience. So I'm gonna
great.
flip to the camera here. You tell me if you are able to see if this will behave. Hey, we're live. That's the beauty of it, right?
I know, huh?
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Can you see this patio paver?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is our new feature this year, where we have introduced a segment of our business, outdoor living, which would include fire features like fireplaces, fire pits, and of course patio pavers. Something uniquely that we've done here is we have actually laid four different colors of patio brick. So you have what we call Philadelphia here, and we have Alberton, and then we have um, Pen Wine, which is in this right corner here, and then we have what they call Bergs. And what's so interesting about all of these bricks is they're made at the same plant up in Watsontown, Pennsylvania, which is more like a boutique plant for us, meaning that um, they really do a lot of different things. Like it's a plant where you can almost get as particular as you want to, and they have a wide selection of pavers, and where we point most of our customers who are looking to do that. I'm going to keep it on the
Okay.
topic of pavers, and I'm going to come over here to the front of our booth. Something also that we did this year. Here's the great thing: people are everywhere, so I'm having to kind of go around and sort of walk through walls
That's a
and
good
things.
sign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm going to turn this around again. This part of the booth is meant to evoke the full brick side of our business. So, when you think about sides of our business, we have full masonry, which is full bricks, and then we have thin masonry, which is on that side. So, what we were trying to do was help people to understand that we're more than just facing brick for the wall. We're also, pavers for the driveway. And so, what this is meant to do is be a conversation starter that we understand. Really, if you guys have ever been in like downtown Charleston and places like that, one of the most staple points of that type of city architecture are the clay walkways, the clay
Yes.
roadways. And so that will get into a little bit of what you'd asked me earlier when I talk about that later. Is that we do make a paver specifically for driveway application where you're going to be driving on it, obviously the weight and things like that. Probably not what you would use for a patio, for example. So
Okay.
anyway, so yeah, that this whole side of our booth is all for facing brick, which we would indicate as being for new build or new construction. One of the
Yes.
wonderful things about this show and us being here, as you can see my hand here, so many people would come up and touch the wall because it's so funny. They would
It's very tactile.
almost like they're not believing that it's actual brick. And so part of that is fun because we get to surprise them and say it is. Here's another one.
It
You know,
is
you can
real.
really start
Yeah.
to see the texture on it. We have black brick up here, and another white color here. But the thing that people were missing from this show was a genuine, real masonry product. And so we obviously wanted to maintain that throughout the booth in all of our products that we sample. We don't do anything. There's no photo sampling here as far as you go up and touch this. This is actually the product that you
Yeah.
would see in the wall if you decided to build with this, much like the
And they
pavers
all
here.
have such different looks to them.
Exactly.
Even the
Yes.
mortar, like the black brick, to have it,
Yes. Yes.
the black mortar, but you could again choose like a gray mortar and it would change the look again.
You could not be more right about that. What we say in the industry is that the mortar color is about 20% of what your eye sees when you
Yeah.
look at any given brick wall. So when you think about that, right, that can make a significant difference on the appearance of a brick. So this brick, obviously going with a whiter mortar, it's going to give a much more whitewash finish. Same thing with the
Mhm.
black. The darker the brick, the darker the mortar, you're going to get that very kind of bold for today's time
More
kind of look
modern.
to it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
That's
sleek.
exactly right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For our outdoor people that love the pavers, we've introduced a new kind of campaign into our marketing. So you probably can't see these videos very well, but what we're trying to do is introduce more lifestyle into our marketing. So we want people to be able to picture things.
Mm.
How can I picture myself like this young lady here? We actually shot this on a sound stage. We actually built, so you can see here, this is brick, it's on the floor. And
Yes.
that's another very popular application today with especially thin brick, is that people have begun to use that more and more on floor applications because it gives you that
Oh.
natural. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
great. I guess I've always thought of thin brick as being for walls, but yeah, there's no
oh,
reason why you can't use it for flooring. Can you use it
it,
for outdoors as well or only
so
indoors?
that's a great question, which goes back to your other your point earlier. So we don't recommend that you do that. It's one of these things
Okay.
where you can, but depending on your environment, like if you've got a very wet,
Yeah.
rainy environment, it could be different than if you were in a very dry climate. So what we do
Okay.
is just recommend if you want to do an outdoor brick application, got to be those brick pavers, right?
Yeah.
Here's
Okay.
another
Good.
beautiful. I'm going to show you guys this. So this home that's featured here has a great blend of one of our white brick products, our black brick products, and then a paver that complements that. So you'll see in the wall here, there's a white cladding that
Oh,
interlocks with
yeah.
a black cladding, and then you have the pavers that are at the front doorway there in the porch area. So it's a beautiful
Yeah.
home, beautiful home. You mentioned about thin brick and where it can go. This is recently a project that was featured in our annual calendar. So this is a hip ceiling, as we call it, and that's a thin brick application on the ceiling.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
So we're seeing more of that. And actually, we have a video on our YouTube channel about how to install thin brick floors. And it's one of our most popular, in terms of viewership, one of our most popular videos to date. And we released that about, I want to say 5 years ago, maybe. So it's still
Okay.
always accumulating views. Here's another example. So here we've got thin brick, kind of like the other corner of the booth where we had the patio or the driveway pavers. So if this
Yep.
side of the booth is for thin materials, this right here is showing you again real brick and how this can be on a floor application. We're seeing this style, which is very historic looking and rustic.
It is.
Um,
Yeah.
we see people applying this to like mud rooms, to entryways, to really give an antique feel to their style and their decorum of their home. And again, it's something that people are doing more and more of. So at the Builder Show, we wanted to make sure people knew, yes, we make brick for that in spades. I mean, we make so many different colors for that. So that's another
Well, and
example
it
there.
adds a lot of character, and I think
Oh,
that you
yeah.
can go too modern and too bare, and
Yes.
brick. I mean, I'm sitting here and my floors are brick too.
Oh, wonderful. There you
I
go. So you see, you're already a believer.
know. It was one of my favorite parts of this house.
Sure.
It just adds character
Yeah.
instantly.
Yeah.
And we just have plain white walls and nothing fancy because, but
Yeah.
brick
Well,
as a
you can.
texture and yeah, it adds
And
so
if you
much.
if you ever wanted to add more texture to that room that's already has brick on the floor, you could do an accent wall, and I'll bet you that we have a brick that would probably match that really
I bet so.
closely.
Yeah.
So we work really hard for that. I mean, for example, this is even more brick that we have on display right here. So
Oh,
one
I
thing I
like
want
how
to
you've done that.
yeah, and thank you for mentioning that, because one of the things about the Builder Show is we really wanted to show brick in a not literally in a light, even though you could say that, but we wanted to sample it in a way that you just don't normally see brick sampled. You
Yeah.
go into a brick showroom of any given manufacturer or distributor, and rightly so, they're going to have just a wall that has samples on there. Well, for a show like this that's meant to inspire people, we wanted people to automatically come in and say, you know what? That's just not the way that I picture brick in my head. And it
Yeah.
suddenly cultivates a sense of, a sense of creative freedom, or at least that's the theory that I hope, pans
Yes.
out. But that's, yeah.
Yeah. No,
So,
I think
yeah,
it's true, and I like how you have the tall pillars. I mean, I like that as like a screening material. You could have metal frames in your outdoor living space
sure.
and have something like that if you have an eyesore that you want to
You could
hide and
see, and
have plants around it.
that's exactly right. I mean, that's a great idea that I didn't even consider, but that's the whole point of how, again, we're sampling these things, is to
Mm,
make people feel different about the product, right?
Yeah.
One of the stigmas, and whether this is with pavers or whether this is with facing brick for the walls, is people think they're limited. Oh, I can only get red. Well, that's just not the case. And I'm going to show that to you right now. Have you ever seen a
Okay.
blue, a green, and that kind of red?
Oh, wow.
Is that not
Oh,
the
that's
coolest thing?
awesome. Yes.
So so this is our what we call glazed thin brick, and here's a great
Okay.
application photo up top. This is called Ocean View. This is called Aqua View. And the reason I'm pointing those two things out, yes, there's two blue colors. Actually, there's more than that. So this is something we just introduced to the show last year. We kind of launched it at the show. It's been
Okay.
very, very popular. But that's the point, is that there's so much to brick that I just don't think people understand. And that's
Yeah.
okay. That's what we're here to do, is to help them to
You're here
understand
to
that there's
educate
examples.
and
Exactly.
inspire. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I
And this is
love
a
that.
this is a cool wall. So this is our interactive wall, where we actually we try to allow people to pick up the loose samples of different things. And since
Okay.
we're on the thin brick side of the booth, we are sampling thin products. And again, for your viewers, this is a corner piece of a thin brick.
Oh,
So if
neat.
you need
Yeah.
to wrap around and have that clean
Yeah.
look, that's how you would do it, right? Instead of having a
Yes.
seam there. So that's one example of that. And we actually do have on the other side um, a paver example of just our solid paver. And I'll show you
Okay.
that. So here you go. See, oh, I'll make a comment here before I start talking about this paver. So this year we created these what we call kind of like a shadow box cubby, because
Yeah.
we want to, people love the touch and feel part of our booth last year. I want to feel it, I want to touch it. And you can't necessarily do that with samples on the wall. So what we've done
Yeah.
is we've created these areas where people can pick this up. So for your audience that's considering or interested in patio pavers or pathway pavers, this is a solid brick paver, okay?
Mhm.
That's from our Watsontown plant. This particular one is
Okay.
pin wine. And this is what someone really would be recommended to use for an outdoor paver. Don't
Yeah.
you? So let's kind of circle back to your comment before about the application of using a reclaimed brick. Okay, so these pavers obviously they're solid, right? There's no core holes.
Yes.
Okay, and the way in which they're made, the density is meant to be an exterior solution, right? So when you think about freeze thaw, that's going to happen throughout a lot of climates. This would be a product that would tolerate those types of climates. If you use a
Okay.
facing brick that's typically meant for a wall or a facade and you put it on the ground, it's going to be more porous. Those core holes
Yeah.
are not going to help in that respect. So the weaker the product gets, the more brittle you're going to potentially have breakage and things like that. Another thing to consider too is, and this is just part of the deal with all brick everywhere, is moisture in combination with certain additives that could be put into the brick could cause
Yeah.
like efflorescence, right? It could cause a
Okay.
combination of salt, or a combination of the things within the brick and the environment that would produce that whitish kind of effect that people might see. So again,
Yeah.
that's why we make plenty of these so that people don't ever have to worry about that. So
Yeah.
hopefully that helps answer your question
That
somewhat.
does. That does. And I mean, how do you recommend laying them? Are you putting them on a sand base? Can you mortar them in? Can you do either or?
That's a great question. So the answer to that would be either or. And typically what we would recommend, obviously, you want to prepare your surface. Make sure it's flat, level. Probably expose the natural ground beneath, and then you want to put a pressure run of some sort.
Yeah.
Tamp it. Make sure that that's stable. That's the thickness that would be recommended. Which we have technical notes on our website that would help
Great.
guide people into
Yeah.
understanding our recommended way to do a paver install. And then from that point, it's kind of like the world is your oyster when it comes to pavers. And I'm going to show you. So I love that you asked that question. So behind me here, and this is a paver, right? So this is what we
Yes.
call a Scarsdale paver. And the reason I want to show
Okay.
this is for two reasons. What I've shown you so far has been reddish, orange, pink, very traditional, very classic, which is great. But here's an example of a more, I guess,
Modern.
earthy, more modern,
Yeah.
and it's in this herringbone pattern. And
Yes.
again, there's so many different patterns that one could do. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think we really have exhausted what all the patterns are, because I think it's in people's minds as they can say, hey, you know what, that would be kind of neat. Now that's going to require more cuts, right? And
Yep.
and and it would be more material, but we don't want to limit anybody. So we would work with people and see what they wanted to do, and we would just see what we have that could meet the need.
Well, and we really like showing off innovative projects that use materials in a new way so we can help,
Sure.
open people's minds to different ways of using materials. So, yeah,
Right.
I think we
Yeah.
need to have a brick project in the next issue. Maybe you can help me find one.
Oh, I'm sure I can. And actually, it's like you just know what I'm going to say or do next. So this is an inspiration photo that we have on display. Now, this is at Bucknell University in Pennsylvania. I think it's in Pennsylvania. And that was
Okay.
featured in our annual calendar. We do an annual calendar each year. It was, I think, February. And this is a great application of our red, just traditional red brick paver that they've done throughout the entire campus. But this is a really cool top-down view. But this would
Yeah.
be the kind of paver. But if you can see the pattern, you can see how creative you can get. You can have a border, so you can really
Oh,
break
yeah.
up the pattern and get something unique to whatever your design is calling
Yeah.
for, or whatever you might want to do with that. So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah. But that's our booth, and some of our people
Great.
that have been on camera and they don't know it. Let me show this too for your audience. So one thing that people don't really understand is we really are the largest in North America. And so maybe it's hard to see with the video feed we have now, but this indicates all of our direct locations as well as our distribution regions, which, spoiler alert, covers the entire country.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Yes.
Spoiler
And so,
alert.
so no matter where your listeners are, there is a tremendously good chance that our products, whether it be through our direct sources like a retail store or through one
Yeah.
of our great partners in distribution, there's going to be something available.
Okay. Oh,
So,
well, that's great. Yeah, no,
yeah.
that was one of my questions. So you beat me to it that time. Ah.
Hey, I got you that time. Yeah. So, right. But yeah, you can check all that out. So if you go to our website, generalshell.com, and you go to the where to buy locator, it's going to show you with proximity to your zip code who is available
Where's
where,
the
and
okay.
you can call them or really, I guess call is what most people would do. But if you're close by, you could drop into a showroom. If you still have questions, let's say that you're not ready for that jump. On our website, you can just submit a question to info@generalshell.com. Yours truly will receive that, and I will
Awesome.
disseminate that message out to the right person. So some people are like, "Oh
Great.
yeah, they're never going to respond," but that's who's going to get it. So
Uh, Luke's gonna get it. Well,
yeah,
and there's also a neat lookbook as well on your website too.
yes,
So
yes,
I'll put a link to that after we're
please
done
do.
recording, and
Yeah.
yeah, and put your details. Or do I just put the contact form link?
Sure, that would be fine. Because
Yeah.
again, my
Okay.
my team will receive that, and that's the best way for us to make sure that we can measure all of the or the effectiveness of the show, which would include your audience in this segment.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you mentioned the lookbook, and here's why that's important. So we did just launch a campaign, and I showed you a little bit of that. The lookbook is really great for helping people to understand what is not just new, but also the variety and the depth of product that we have. But it's not exhaustive. So if there's things on there that your audience does not see, I would suggest that either you send that message in or you go to our website and search a little bit more. I'm sure we have a solution for whoever and whatever that person has in mind.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's great to know. And I think,
Yeah,
yeah, the lookbook's more of like an inspiration
it
guide,
is.
and
It
it's in
is.
interior and exterior. So
Right.
mostly, I think mostly interior. But I think, yeah, you have some great products, and yeah, excited. Well, we'll have to touch base after this about showing off some brick projects because we haven't shown off a lot of brick projects. So we want
Well,
to
we would love for
get
that to
some inspiring
change.
ones.
And even though we have had a heavy emphasis on facing brick, we have a library of beautiful jobs. I mean, those that are of large scale, of pavers mixed with fire pits, mixed with retaining walls, some that have pools inlaid. I mean, we've got a lot of different things that perhaps the audience will be interested in. So let's do it. Let's make something
Let's
happen.
do it.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, Luke. And yeah, That's Luke live from the IBS show in Orlando, Florida, showing us off the General Shale booth and all of the products that he's launched and has on display. So go by and see him today or tomorrow.
Today or tomorrow. Booth three
Awesome.
zero two nine.
3029.
That's it.
Okay, go by and see him. Thanks, Luke. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.